Okay, so first off, what is Python? And that's where we're going to just start. Then from here, I'll just go straight to how you uh in fact we'll go straight to writing your first Python program. Okay, so Python is a programming language. It's also the name of a very long snake. But Python is a programming language. Why the name Python was used, I don't know. But it is easy and friendly to use. It has very steep learning curve. What that means is that if you sit down with Python and only Python within 1 week, you will be an expert in Python. And so it is easy and it's friendly to use. So many things that used to scare first time programmers, um, they are taken care of in Python. And apart from that, Python also have a very large community of experts who open source their program. So Python is an open source um, programming language that has a very robust environment, very big foundation that supports people to develop themselves, organize conference. In fact, they sponsor conference. But apart from that, you don't need a license to use Python. What that means is that if you write your own software and you want to make money out of that software, you don't need to send any money to Python. You don't need to buy the licenses before you can make use of your own. So you can freely use it. You can freely distribute it. You can even use it to make your own commercial application. So which makes it very interesting to do. Also, um, Python also have a very large and rich what we call modules. As we go on in in today's class, you will see an example of what we call module or libraries, as some other programming language, or packages as some other programming language may call it. So what this means is that there are some powerful functions that you want to create. I mean, powerful um, um, tools that you want to create. For instance, when we get it properly into artificial intelligence, be hearing something like training your own neural network. In that case, we will not be writing the code of neural network all from beginning to the end. We'll be taking advantage of these packages, these modules that other people have written, and we will just be making use of it to make our own development very fast and easy to use. All right. So if you that's the summary about Python, and that is one of the reasons why it is very used in machine learning community. Yeah, that being said, Python is the mainstay programming language used in developing AI and other machine learning codes. Um, Different applications that you're seeing currently, um, of recent, towards the end of last year, a very powerful artificial intelligence was released that is called ChatGPT. ChatGPT was written entirely in Python, was trained on Python and all. So many things that we have seen, so many powerful AIs that we have seen in town, they are completely developed using Python. So that is one of the reasons why, if you are going to learn, I mean, if you are going to be an AI developer, then it is okay that you sit and first learn what Python is all about. You should first learn what Python is all about. All right. So, having said that, um, if you are with your system, if you are with your computer, then you are ready to follow me in this hands-on training. So type python.org on your browser. If you are on your PC, then it means you are using browser to receive this lecture. Just click a new tab, create a new tab on your computer and enter python.org. So when you enter python.org, click on downloads. So on downloads, you will see this yellow button where you can get the latest Python Python setup. So if you are using Windows, just click on it and go for it. If you are using OS, sorry, if you are using Mac OS, you can click on Mac OS. If you are using Linux, any distribution of Linux, you can click on this and just download it from there. All right. Let me see on this participant, how many of you, if it's possible for you to just raise up your hand, let me see how many people want to download Python on their system right now. How many of you would like to download Python? I see one. All right. I see one hand, second hand, third hand, fourth. Okay, good. So you can just come to this browser, this tab, go to python.org, or search Python on your Google, and the first thing that come out should be python.org. Click on it and click on download. You'll be here. So when you click and download, you can go ahead and install. All right, somebody said he has Anaconda on his system, which is also fine. I'm just going to talk about Anaconda shortly. All right, if you have Anaconda, there's no need, there's no worry, just you don't need to download that again. All right, so yeah, so now there are different distributions of Python because it's open source. Different companies have come up to develop their own Python, develop something around the traditional Python, and one of it is Anaconda. So I search Anaconda on Google now, and this come up. So let's go on. I'm clicking anaconda.com. So if you click on anaconda.com, you come to this beautiful page. So Anaconda is a Python environment that is specifically designed for machine learning experts, for data science and machine learning experts, or not just experts, even beginners like you and I can also download Anaconda. What Anaconda do for us? Sorry, you see I'm mentioning so many snakes in this presentation. I started with Python and then I'm talking about Anaconda. Maybe the next thing is Cobra. No, I'm not going to mention Cobra. But Anaconda is just a name, but it makes it easy for machine learning experts to just go on with their work. The most important thing with it is that it has thousands of open source packages and library pre-installed. So what that means is that in the other Python I showed you, whenever there is a package that you want to use, if there is a module that you want to use, you have to download it and install it on your Python. But with Anaconda, most of the popular libraries come pre-installed on it. So if I'm going to advise which one should you go for, the first Python I showed you or this one, well, I will say depending on how much internet connection you have and how fast you can download it, this will be my go for you. All right. So, but we can read quite so many interesting things about it maybe at your leisure time. So whatever one you're going for, either you're going for Python or you're going for Anaconda, anyone is okay and is going to work in this presentation. So go ahead and install. Go ahead and download and install. Now, let's say that you're downloading or you have downloaded Python just like when I told you to download Python. So we're going to go straight into we will go straight into the main thing we want to do for today. So all right, so I'll be making use of Sublime Text for writing our Python code. Sublime Text is just a text editor. It's like Notepad. So I can use any notepad to develop my um, Python code and then run it and see what is going to be. So first off, you know, when you come to any programming language, the first thing you want to do is to greet the word. So our first Python code is going to be simple hello world program. So I'm going to save this program. Going to save this program and call it I'm going to call it hello world. So I'm going to create a new folder where I'll be working. I'll call it Python. And then inside this Python, I'll call it Python tutorial. All right, so Python tutorial. Where's my Python tutorial now? Okay, okay, see it here. So I'm going to save it here and call it hello world. Hello world .py. So when you want to name a Python program, the only way you tell your computer that it is a Python program is to end it with a .py. .py. All right. So I have this program. Its name is Hello World, and it's ready to roll. So to say Hello World in Python, it's simple. We just say print Hello World. Print Hello World. So in this program, it's a simple program, but what it's going to do is that when I run this program, it's going to print what is inside these two quotation mark, which is hello world. So let's run the code. To run the code, I will be making use of my command prompt. So let me bring out my command prompt. Now, if you have installed Python on your system, okay, sorry, I have to be switching between command prompt and all right, so this is my command prompt. Can you see my command prompt now? You can see my command prompt, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to make sure that my program is where my command prompt is pointing to the same place where my Python code is. So I'm going to make my so because I'm running this code from the command prompt, I must ensure, like, I will have to ensure that the the code can run. Now somebody will ask, why am I using command prompt for you? Yeah, that's a good question, because I want you to learn everything that Python is all about. I'm not just going to use an IDE with you. I'm going to use the raw Python environment with you so that you can see how things go. Okay, so I'm going to change my directory to the directory where the code is, that and that is the Python tutorial. So if I press dir, you're going to see the hello world. Yeah, this is the hello world that we want to run, which means I'm in the right place. So to run a Python code, I'll just type Python. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I want to show you before I run this code. Now, when you install Python on your system, you can go to command prompt and just type Python and press enter. When you type Python and press enter, it will launch a program a Python interpreter for you. and from there you can continue your Python development. So look at my own. This is my Python environment. In fact, it is making use of my Anaconda. So I have Anaconda download to this system. So every Python command now, I can type it a equals 1, b equals 3 or 5, and I can do a plus b. I can do everything that I want to do, but that's not what I want to do today. I just want to show you that. So now, you can keep on doing this and it will be showing you, because Python is an interpreter based program. So it will be going through your code line by line and executing it. But instead of doing that, you can write your entire program in a script like we did in a Sublime Text, right? And then you can, after you do that, you can then come and use Python to run the script that you have written. That's what we want to do. So we have written this um, hello world program, hello underscore word dot py, right? And I'll just press enter. And what did you see? You see it's type hello, it send back hello world. So this is our first Python program. What have we done in this tutorial? Number one, we have seen how you can download and install Python on your system, and that when you download and install Python on your system, the way to know that you have successfully installed Python on your system is come to command prompt, type Python, and press enter. When you press enter, it's going to run, it's going to give you a Python interpreter environment where you can type in Python commands and it's going to execute it for you. Now, we have also said that Python is an interpreter based programming language. What that means is that it will go through your code line by line and execute it. Just like you have here, this is line 1 of my code, a equals 2. Line 2, b equals 5. Line 3, a plus b. The line, of course, this one is the result. It's not. So it will execute line by line. And following this, we can develop programs, our own program, or write a script and have it line by line so that Python will come and execute each line of that code for us. So we have a script written, we call it hello world, and by typing Python, like we're calling Python to execute this program, um this line of codes that we have written called hello world.py, and Python did type and send back to us, display the result, which is hello world. All right, so that is your first program in Python. Congratulations, you have written your first Python program. So is there any question at this level? Can we move on? Any question? Is it possible for us to move on? Just tell me yes or no. You can unmute your mic.
Move on, please. Move on, please. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so after this, the next thing we want to do is to ask ourselves, how can we write more complex programs? Well, the number one way to write complex programs is to delve deeper into this program that these Python programs that we're talking about. All right, so I'm going to bring up my Sublime Text again, and we're going to write the next program. Our second next program is okay, yeah. So our second next program is to see how can we develop variables. There is something called variables in, so I'm going to name this variables.py. That's the next program that we want to run. Now, variables are placeholders. What we mean by placeholders is that you see earlier when I was using the interpreter, I said something like a equals 1, and I say b equals 5. Okay, I think it was 2 I used earlier, right? And then I just did something like a plus b, right? And of course, Python give me the result of this a plus b. Now, but a equals to is saying that there is a space in memory that has this value 2, which I am going to use sometimes in the future, right? So you see, this a equals to, I didn't use it until line 3. So when you're writing complex programs, sometimes you have some values, and sometimes the value you're not going to use it until a very longer time in the future, right? So in that case, you need variables. So it is variable that is going to help you to hold it. And also, at some other time, you have result of an execute after you execute a line of code. So like this line 3 now, I also need a variable called c to help me hold the result in memory, so that sometimes later I can revert back to it, and that is what I use c for. So all these variables I've written for now, they all fall into what we call integer. So I'm going to show you another Python's trick right now that is called comments. So this so I type hash, that's hash color, I mean hash character on my keyboard, and whatever I type after this hash character is called comment. Comment help us to read and understand what our code or what someone else's code is all about. So that if I give you this code that I'm writing now, when you read it, you just know what it's all about. So when you're writing comments, you want to pass useful um, you want to pass useful comments or useful hints that is going to make people understand your code. All right. Admin, please, can you help us mute the people that are making noise on the background? Sorry. Okay. So the int I'm going to have here is I'm going to say integer variable. Integer
It's
variables.
better to mention Atondam. Please mute your mic.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So these are integer variables. Integer variables. All right. So some other times in Python, you want to ask yourself, what is this variable that is all about? Well, I'm going to do something. Um, I'm just going to tell you much about it later, and that is called type. So type in Python is used to know what is the type of variable that is the data type that it is actually holding. And if you go to Python command and write type, it's going to tell you whether this is an int or so. All right, but I don't need this one currently. I'm just going to show you another kind of data type that we have, and that is called string. String. Now, string can be, so let me say name, and of course my own name is Adeyinka. Now, what did you see? You see something that is different from the integer. Before I can type my name, I need quotation marks. So that's going to be consistent with every string that you are going to use or that you're going to declare whenever you are using your Python, right? So this is a string. So whatever come in between the two quotation marks is the string at that time. So my name is Adeyinka. I type the name within the two quotation marks. Okay, what happens if I use only one quotation mark? Okay, so let's say I have um another variable name. I want to also make a string because um it can also be, so I want to use my sister, maybe my sister's name, right? So I can say that my sister's name is Oluwabunmi. Oh, sorry, that's not what I want to do. Okay, I want to say, what if I use only one quote instead of two quotes, right? Yeah, that's what I want to say. Now, it is still permissible. It is a valid Python code. So, which means that you have two ways of declaring a string variable in Python. You can use double quote or use a single quote. I believe that is very clear. Now, we have another one that is called float. Yeah, float is decimal numbers. Float is decimal numbers that you can use. So float can be maybe the depth of um, maybe Niger, River Niger in Niger State. I'm currently in Niger State. So and the depth of River Niger, I don't know, but I'm just saying that maybe is some number like this. Or maybe you want to the number pi has 3.14, right? So all these ones are example of float. It could be a large number, but the most important thing is that it has this decimal period there, and that's what makes it a float. That's what makes it a float. That's another data type that we have in that's another type of variable that we have in Python. Another variable that we have in Python. Okay, now we have another kind of variable in Python that is called Boolean. So Boolean. Now Boolean only evaluates to true or false. So I can have um a a variable maybe to check attendance, maybe is there, this is there could be true, and maybe is boy would be false. So to declare a Boolean value in Python, you have to use capital letter T for true. It cannot be small letter t. It cannot be small letter t, it has to be capital. And for false, it also has to be capital F. It cannot be um, it cannot be lower cap. All right. The last one that we have, the last data type that we have in Python is none. Yeah, Python has something called none. That means it doesn't exist, right? Or it is absent, or the value has not come. I'm expecting it, but it has not come. So maybe maybe I'm expecting that sometimes in the future I'm going to, okay, let's say that I have an email, and I'm going to have traffic on the email. I mean, sorry, not email. I want to say website. I have a website I just designed, and I'm expecting, of course, sometimes in the future, people will visit my website. But I've not launched the website. Because I've not launched the website, nobody could visit the website. But sometimes in the future, people will visit the website and see. So I can have this traffic, or traffic equals none, right? So traffic equals none means nobody has come to visit the website. But immediately I launch this website, people can come and see what is there, and traffic may no longer necessarily be none. All right. Okay. So these are Python variables that we have. Is there any question? Any question for me?
No, sir.
Hello,
Okay.
there is question. Oh. I
All
want
right.
to ask for the inter ID that you are using. I joined a little bit late. Maybe you have mentioned it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The ID.
The ID I'm using is Sublime Text. It's just a
Sublime.
yeah, it's just a text editor. But
Okay.
before you come, we have talked about Anaconda. So in case you download Anaconda on your system, you could just probably use Anaconda. Or yeah, maybe on second thought, I can begin to use Idle. Yeah, that's true. For those that install Python, I showed you can download Python directly, and you can download Python directly and begin to use, right? Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you download Python and you use it, I mean, if you install Python directly on your system, there's a IDE that come with it. We call it idle. IDLE. I don't know why they call it idle, but that's the name it is called. So it is possible for you to use that development, I mean IDE also. So I think I'm just going to start using the IDE from now on instead of using this so that I can run the code together. But why I started using this Sublime Text, of course, I'm used to Sublime Text in a way. And secondly, because I want to show the link between this and the fact that Python is native, it resides on your command prompt. Okay. So is that okay, ma?
Yes, like I have Anaconda.
Yes, so you
How
can
do
use
I
it.
use it now?
Okay,
Am I
if
going to
you
Jupyter whatsoever? Notebook.
oh, okay. On Anaconda, let me see if I can open my own Anaconda. I hope I still have this Anaconda complete. Okay. Just give me a minute. Let me launch my Anaconda so that I can show you way
Thank you.
around there. It's okay. So when I launch the Anaconda, when it finished loading, I will come back to quickly answer you. So, but for now, let's continue. Um,
Sorry, please. I also have a question when you're done. I have a question.
okay,
When,
o-
yeah.
okay. I think I can take your question then.
All right. Please, my question is, when you're working on the command prompt, how
Yes.
do you? I want to know how because I didn't on the command prompt. I've been try. I was working on practicing Python before I came into this class. I didn't
Okay.
see a menu where I have to save directly into that folder created. As in, how do I from the command prompt? How do I make sure my work is going into that folder I created, like that,
Oh,
changing into the directory? Because at
okay.
least this Sublime Text, it has a file menu where you click and say save as, but like command prompt doesn't have it, or any other. I don't know if any other text editor has it.
Okay. Are you using Windows, ma?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You may not be able to save what you are doing directly on command prompt. you
Okay,
you can, it's not like you cannot, but
okay,
the process is not quite straightforward for Windows.
all right.
Yeah, but for Linux or for Mac OS, it is
Sorry, is
possible.
it Linux we are using right now?
No, I'm
What
not
we're
using
working with?
Linux.
All
I'm
right.
not using Linux. I'm using Windows. That's why I have Sublime Text. You need
Okay.
separate text editor which you cannot directly call from command prompt. No, which you cannot easily call from command prompt, right?
Okay.
So that is
Okay.
why you will need to open text editor separate and then navigate your command prompt to where you are saving to. I have to save manually myself on this Sublime Text, right? And then go
Yeah,
to,
so, but sorry, the Sublime Text is very straightforward to download, right?
yes, it's straightforward to
Okay.
download. It's very light. It doesn't consume, yes, that's why I'm using it.
You
Doesn't
just go
consume.
to
Just type
www.sublimetext.
Sublime Text on Google. It's going to bring it
Okay.
for you and it's free.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So when we are working on it, you say we will connect it to the command prompt or something. You were
Yes, you
explaining
connect
something.
it to command prompt. And how you do it is you will use the CD as change directory command on the command prompt.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
you you can see when I start.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is my command prompt. When I
I saw the
start,
code. I saw
yeah,
it.
the command prompt
I
was
saw it.
pointing only to this place before, so I have to use cd and
Okay.
the new directory where I want it to point to.
Okay.
Yes, so that's the
Okay.
same thing that you do. And the
All
one of
right.
the easiest way you can use to get, you can see I just copy and paste this. I didn't start typing it. So you can go
Where
to the
did you
folder.
copy from?
You can go
The
to your
parts.
folder, the folder where you save to itself,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And click on that tab. Maybe let me show you that. I don't know. Um,
Okay.
let me show you that. So just a minute.
Okay.
All right. So can you see my window?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the folder where I'm saving to. It has this
Okay.
C document, blah blah blah. But if I come here and
Okay.
I click on that tab, you see that it
Oh,
changed
okay. Yeah.
this part, so I can then copy Control C, you know, and then
Mm.
um,
Go paste it in
Control C,
that command prompt.
and then just come and paste it on command prompt. So that's
All
what I
right.
did. And that's
Okay.
quite straightforward.
All
Okay,
right. Thank you. Mm.
thank you. Is there any other
Wow.
question? Oh, unfortunately, my Anaconda is not running. But on your Anaconda, for the person that asked the question, on Anaconda, there are two ways that you can run Python code. One of it is the one you mentioned, Jupyter Notebook.
Jupyter. I've
Yeah.
even opened it.
Okay.
And I've opened the Python 3, PY kernel. And so
Okay.
I am on line 1. I don't know what to
Okay.
type there.
Okay.
Line 1 and
Yeah, so the thing with Jupyter Notebook is, in fact, you can make each line of the code that I'm typing, you can make them one by one line. But if you want to follow what I am doing, you can, the entire code that I write, like I just finished doing variables now. Now you will not need to be saving variables.py, right? So you just type the code that I type on your on each of the cell, and
okay.
everything, and then run it after.
I
Yeah.
will start with you now. I
Okay.
didn't follow
Okay.
the other code, but the next one you are doing, I will be typing
Okay.
as well.
Okay,
Thank
man. No problem. Thank you. Okay. Um. All right. So thank you. We have talked about the first program we wrote was to see, to say hello world. Now, the next program we're going to write is also a very simple one. Um, because of what we say, I just thought that maybe people may find it quite difficult switching between command prompt and this thing. So I want to start using IDO. That's the native Python uh, IDE. It's not quite impressive. That's why many people don't use it. Plus, it's white, and we always don't like white IDE because when you stay too long in front of white lights, it can damage retina. Okay, so I'm going to save this code. I press Ctrl S. So I'm going to say um, different hello.py, different hello. So this different hello, what we want to do is we want to put a little bit swag. What we did earlier is just to say print hello. That's what we did, print hello world. I think there's also an exclamation mark at the end, but it's no big deal. So this is what we did. But what I want us to do right now is to see what if I want the user himself to say something, like I want to ask you to please enter your name, and when you enter your name, I will say hello, the person that entered the name, right? That's what I want us to do. So what I mean is that I want to get users input. I want to get the users input. So I will get the users input, and then I will now say hello the user. So how am I going to do that? That's what we want to look at right now, right? Okay. So to do that, I'm going to need a variable to hold the person's name, right? So I'm going to have name equals. So how we get input from user, how we get user input in Python is by using this function called input. So I'm going to tell the user to don't let me use a command. Let me be nice. Please enter your name. So please enter your name, right? So, and what I want to say is to say print. So we're going to see I'm going to explain this code, but just follow me. Okay, so that's the code that we want to. I'm going to get rid of this line because I don't need it. Okay, so now we're seeing quite some things that are new here, starting with this thing that I call function. What does function mean in Python? Yeah, function, especially function that are native to Python, are series of lines of code that has been written and kept somewhere for us, right? Maybe immediately after here, I'm going to also show us how we can write, maybe not immediately, but very soon, we're going to see how we can write our own function. But these are inbuilt functions that you can call and make use of. So this input is a function that was previously written by Python about some people, and we will call it. The idea is that it will get their input from their keyboard, and we can make use of it subsequently in our own program. So you see now we have name, which we are going to make use of in our own program. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Now, then coming here, we know the nice little print statement that we've been using. But what of this F that is here, and what about this parentheses that we now put name inside? What are they doing? Yeah, so Python have different ways of printing, and one of it is what we call a formatted printing, which is represented by F. So the formatted printing is able to take variables in your code and insert it into the print statement. So I don't need to look for how to get the person, whatever the name of that person is. This is my variable, and you can see the variable name. So the way to tell Python that it is not name that I want to appear, but the variable that is going to keep changing what the user enter. That's what I want to see. That's the way, I mean, that's what this formatted printing is going to do for me. So I'm going to run this code now, and hopefully you see. Let me see, did you see my screen? No, you did not. So maybe I'll just go back to, okay, what I was thinking is that you'll be able to see um my idol at the same time. I mean the okay, so let me stop sharing this again and share the new one. I don't want to share the entire tab, I mean entire window. It makes system to be very slow. You will not see it very well if, I mean, it will make it slow. All right, so the program is running. So you can see it's running this program different.py. That's what is running currently. And the first line of my code was please enter your name. So you can see the name is there waiting for me, and the name is Adeyinka. So I'll press enter, and you can see hello Adeyinka. Yeah, so for those that can try this on their system, you can also try it with your name, and let us see. So let's, if I rerun the code, I can try it with someone somebody else's name, like someone else's name. Let's see. Yeah. So what is your name? Maybe there's somebody called, yeah, let me use our participant's name. Yes, so there's Olushola. Okay, so hello Olushola. All right, so this is how you can get users input into your code and several other things like that. Is this clear? Any question? Any question? Do we have any question? Okay, no question. Good. So then is there any question? All right, no
It's
question.
Python is case sensitive, isn't it? Case
Yes,
sensitive.
Python is case sensitive. Python is case sensitive. So what that means is that a name with small letter is different from a name with capital letter, but that doesn't affect whatever I put inside string. But generally, Python is case sensitive like every other programming language. Okay. So yeah, in our next um, in our next code that we want to write now, we want to see want to introduce another set of data type in Python that is called sequence. Sequence. Now, all the variables I've shown you, they can only hold one value at a time. Can only hold one value at a time. But let's say that um, um, we have a variable. Um, okay, let me use a real-time variable now. Let's say we want to know the position of a football or yeah, a ball on a football field. You know, we all know that that football will have an XY coordinate, right? Just like every human being too, if you get to your GPS location, the GPS location of where I am currently, we have latitude and longitude. So even though it's just a single variable, position, right? I have X and Y component of that position, right? So what I can do is to say that, or let's say location X, and I will write the value there, right? And then I can do location Y, and then I write the value here, right? Or is it possible for us to have um, a single variable that can hold these two values together? Yes, it is possible. And the first among all the sequences that I'm going to introduce to you is list. List doesn't actually start solving the problem that I just mentioned to you now. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so list can hold so many variables. So I can have the list of participants that are here currently. So maybe let me try and get the list of some few participants that are here. So we have Teresa, we have Teresa, we have I'm just going to type the simple one I can get, type. Okay. Now, when you are typing the list, you separate each one by a comma. Separate each of the list by a comma. Yeah. So the last one is yeah. Now, what you see here is that I have names of participants. The names of participants are strings, and that is why I have them in double quotes. That's why I have the names in double quotes. Sorry, please. I'm at home, close from work, and a baby is disturbing me. Okay. So as I was saying, Teresa is a name and it has to be a string. That's why it is in quotes, right? And OC, I hope I get it correctly, is also a name. That's why it is there. So this list, then we can call it name of participants. So this is the list of my participants. I can go on and go on and go on and add more. Maybe as I'm writing the list of participants now, and somebody is telling me, oh, so why do you choose the name of only females? And I say, oh, sorry, I don't mean to do that. So I can then say, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm going to add you that you are complaining, I'm going to add you to the list of the participants. So to add more to the list, you use the method called append. So I can then append Mr. Ayo. I'm seeing his face, it looks like a guy. That's why I thought he's a guy. Okay, hopefully he's a guy. Okay, so we now see a list. You can create a list by including by each of the item in the list, separating it with a comma. A list, I mean, each of the item in the list, you separate it with a comma. Of course, importantly, you start a list or you enclose a list in a square bracket. So you can see this is a square bracket, right? And then you can add more to your list. You want to add more to your list, you can use dot append. Dot append is going to add more to the list. So like we did earlier, I'm going to um, make a comment and say this is list. Now it's not just list that we have. We have another um, we have another interesting sequence, collection of sequence that is called tuple. Now, following the example I used for you earlier about getting XY coordinates, in fact, that is one of the things that tuple is very good for. So I can then say location. So my location is let's say 12.45, 689.79. So this is my location. Now, the difference between, of course, we can see the first difference between the two of them is that this one use a normal bracket to enclose its item, whereas list use square bracket. Although the two of them are separated, all sequences are separated by comma. Now, the difference between the two of them now is that tuple is immutable. What it means is that you can't just come and change the value there. So it doesn't mean that you cannot use variables, so that if the variable change, what is there can change, but you can't come directly and change the value that is already there. So for instance, you cannot add any more to this list. So if your location is XY coordinate, you cannot wake up tomorrow and say there's a Z component. So tuple is immutable, it is not changeable. So when do you use tuple? When you have a function that returns certain number of outputs. One of the ways that people guide against malware, internal attacks, and all of that, code-based attack, is to use tuple, because it then means that they cannot
Sorry,
change
when do we use tuple?
is used. I mean, whatever value
Sir?
is going out there. Somebody is asking a question.
Yes, you said something about tuple. When do we use it?
Okay, I said that you use tuple as output of your function. So in that way, people use it to guide against internal attack on their code. You prevent hackers from hacking your code and adding malicious malware to your code. So because we all know that tuples cannot change, it is immutable, then it means that nobody can change it. All right. Is that clear? All right. Another set of collection that we have is sets. We all know sets following our mathematics. Yeah. So set is just the normal set. It has different collection of objects, just like we have known. The only difference is that set is orderly, right? Set is orderly, and um you create sets differently from the way we create other kinds of sequences that we have considered. So let's say there is a set I want to create that is set S. Of course, I can. So I'm going to create the set using this, and then I can do set dot add 1, set dot add 3, set dot add 4, can do set dot add 2 because I've missed 2, then set dot add 3. But what we know with sets, even from mathematical definition of sets, is that it is the numbers are unique. So if I have two numbers or two items twice, it's just going to pick one of it. So that's the difference between this and the other kinds. Of course, list can have so many. You can have duplicates. You can have repeated members in the class, repeated names. It doesn't mind. Um, and also, just like you can see, this is mutable because I created this set as an empty set, but I can add more to it. All right, somebody want to ask a question? Please go ahead.
Sets are usually in curly brackets, but these ones are in
Okay,
normal brackets.
yes, this one is a normal bracket. It doesn't use curly brackets because I have one more data type, sequence that I'm going to show you, and that's called dictionary. Did I spell this dictionary correctly? I'm not sure, but I want to type dictionary. My head is not thinking correctly. So, but if it is correct, then thank God. All right. So, dictionary, just like the word, just like the name sound, that is what it is meant to be. It is meant to be like you have a word and you want to look it up and know what is the meaning of this word. Yeah. So, in this case, we make use of the word that you want to look up. We call it key, and the definition you're going to get, we call it value. So for instance, I see this GHA now, and I'm wondering what is GHA, but maybe somebody behind the scene has told me the name of the person that is GHA. And so let me create a variable and call it secret name. So the secret name, I'm going to create it. Okay, let me say secret names of my participants. Yeah, so the first secret name that we have is GHA, and so maybe the name of the person behind this secret name is Alima, right? Yeah, so when you come and you inquire or you check up GHA, then it's going to return for you Alima. So let me see, maybe we have another one, say XYZ, and the name is the real name should have been Ahmed, and maybe we have another person that is prof, right? And the real name should have been, sorry, now I need to put this because it's a string. Yeah, so you see this forms my um my my complete list. Yeah. All right, so if I want to use this list now, how do I make use of the list? So I'm just going to, just like I told you, I will need to put what I want to use to inquire, what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for the definition of GHA, and when I run this code, it's going to tell me that it is Halima. All right, so list is very, sorry, dictionary is very useful in Python. Is it's one of the most used. Of course, list, all of them are very used, except set is rarely used except in mathematics. List is always used. You see us using list a lot of time here. But dictionary find its application in so many places. Okay, so for instance now, let's say I have a website, maybe a live streaming website like Netflix, and I want, for everybody that comes to that Netflix, I want to be able to recommend a good movie for them to watch, and I can only do that by knowing their previous history. So as Alima come in, I see, yeah, Alima watch this movie. How many rates does, I mean, what does he rate it to be? All those things. So I can use it to track all of Alima's watching, everything together in a single variable. All right. So that is what we have as sequence. Sequence.py. So if I run this code now, what are we going to have? Oh, okay, sorry. You will not see me when I run the code. But I'm going to share. Maybe I should start using the Sublime text again. Okay. So let me show you sorry, I have to stop sharing and reshare the idle. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the last program that we wrote is sequence. So yeah, sequence.py. So I'm going to run it by typing Python sequence.py. All right, the program run and you see nothing, right? Why do we see nothing? Because we didn't print anything out, right? Okay, so what if we want to print something, right? What if we want to see what is in our, I think, let me share my entire screen now so that I will save myself this stress. Why are we seeing infinity screen again? Okay. All right, so this is the two things side by side. Okay, so what I can do now is I can print everything that is inside this name of participants, and when I run this code, it's F5, code is going to run now, and it prints something, everything in the participant. But what if I only want to see the first participant? Maybe they are in the order of the time they arrive. So Python indices start from 0. So by saying participant 0, I mean the first participant, and that is Teresa, right? And of course, I can I can ask for the last participant. Last participant in Python is so what it means is that if people are coming and I keep on appending, sometimes I may lose track of how long the list have become, right? And in that way, I will not even know whether it is 100 or 200. So in that case, Python give us a way of knowing, and that's using -1. That means the last element on that list. And if I compile again, you're going to see Mr. Ayo, the Mr. Ayo that's just come and I added. All right, so that is how the same thing is done. I mean, can be done for tuple. So I can say location 0, and you will see location 0. Yeah, that's the first coordinate there. Okay, and of course I can do the same thing. Let me not do the same thing for others, but this one we're interested in knowing what is the secret name of GHA. And if I compile again, you're going to see simply Alima. All right, now what we can do more is to now introduce what is called loop in Python. So I'm going to create another folder, another file. I'm going to call this file loop.py. Okay, and then I'm going to make use of, no, not this, going to make use of this participant's name. All right, but for a start, what does loop make use, what does loop mean in Python before? Okay, I think I can use this also to just say what is loop in Python. Now, the most popular loop that is used in Python is the for loop, and the syntax is for so I can say for name in the name of my participants. Okay, for name in the name of participants. Maybe I want to do roll call, and in doing the roll call, I'm just going to print. Okay, let's do what we did earlier to say hello to each one of them. Hello name. So this way, I'm not just greeting myself, but I'm greeting my participants. So it's going to, what this loop is going to do is it will loop over all these names one by one and and greet them individually and print it out. But before I run this code, well, let me run the code first so that we can see. Yeah, beautiful. So we see hello Teresa, hello OC, hello GHA, hello Miriam. Yeah, so that's greeting each one of them by them after the other. But let's look at the syntax again. You see, for name in name of participant, what that means is that you need a domain variable that you are going to use to keep track of the loop, and then Python only loop over over a sequence. So Python need a sequence for the loop to work. That's contrary to some other programming language like Java, who simply needs something to count up to. This one is not counting up to something, so that's why you did not see for high, if I is less than kini kini con, then I plus plus. No, that's not the method for doing it in Python. Python simply asks you, where is the sequence of numbers that you want me to iterate over? Then give me a domain variable to keep track of what I'm iterating over, right? So that is that's Python. So what if we don't want to iterate over a predefined list, right? What if we just want our program to run for a certain number of times? So how am I going to do that? What if I just want it to print Teresa maybe 10 times? So how am I going to do that? So that's another thing that we should explore. All right. For that case, you still need um Python always need to run in a sequence. So but there is this little function that was created to undo that. So what that means is that I can then create something like this and then print sorry so I can print FLO. In this case, I'm going to have name of sorry, I need to put this in, name of participants, right? Oh no, I don't want to print everything. I want to print only the first name, which is Teresa, right? So if I run this code now, it's going to print Teresa 10 times. Good. So what do we do? Range is going to create um is going to create number from 0 to 9. That's what range is going to do. Don't forget that Python is zero index, so it's going to create a list or any sequence from 0 to 9, and it will keep going over that one by one by one by one by one. All right. So which means that another way we could have written this code is um to say that, okay, we want I equals to 1, and say we want range to be, yeah, I'm going to explain. I think I need to copy this so that I don't have to be typing it all the time. Okay, now, and in this place I'm going to have this. All right, so this new modified code, this portion, I hope you are still with me in class. Hello.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. I've been talking alone for a while. All right, so this new modified portion of code now, what is the difference? All right, we see quite a few things that is new, especially this len. Now what len is going to do, let me just come here and do that kind of len for you. So let's say I create a list, call it a, and I have it as 0 1 2. So if I ask for length of a, it's 3, so it's length of a, so it will count how many items is there to tell me. So this will take in the participant in place of a, right, and ask that list how many items is there. So by knowing the number of items that is there, then you can then loop over each of them. So when I is 0, is going to ask for the participant 0. When I equals 1, it will ask for participant 1, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let me save again and run the code. Okay, now I think I am just going to, okay, so you can see from here to here the code run. Maybe let me comment out this section. um, okay, sorry, I'm trying to see how I can use. Okay, so yep, so let me run the code again. Yes, so it goes over the only that and it prints it out. So that is how loop works in Python. All right, so because of our time, let me quickly go on and ask for how do we use conditional in Python. So I'm going to build on what we already know to do that. But there's one more thing that I've not shown you in Python, and that's what I'm also going to demonstrate it using one stone to kill two birds here right now. Okay, so let's say that we want to write a program that whatever the user enter, we want to tell it whether it is a positive number, a negative number, or a zero. So we're going to get the input from the user. So let's call the input number. So we're going to tell the user to, okay, let me be nice, please enter a number. Okay, so we will now ask if that number is greater than 0, it should print positive number, right? Right. So if it is 0, let me just say else. Yeah, it could be that the else is 0. So if it is 0, then just print 0. Oh, sorry, I'm saying print 0 again. Okay, now there's one in between here, and that is what if it is less than 0. So I need an if else to do that, but in Python we don't have if else, we have elif. So it is called elif. So elif number is less than 0, and in that case I'm just going to print negative number, right? Yeah, fine. So I'm just going to save this as condition.py. Condition.py. All right, so I'm going to run this code in Python. This is the first time we're seeing error in Python, and this is the last thing any programmer pray for, but something we always see, which means that you don't pray for it, but you always see it. Now when you see this kind of red letter error in Python, don't be scared, just take your time and read it. So if we try to read this code now, what can we see? First off, it tells you that trace back to the most recent call, and it tells you the line, in fact the file and the line where the code has error. It is line 3. If you count this, this is line 1, line 2 is empty, line 3 is here, right? So that's the advantage of using Sublime Text. I could easily see the line number. All right, so and then it tries to tell you if number is greater than 0. That's what we have on that line, right? Then it tells you we have an exception, that is type error, and it is because of the use of this greater than sign. Said it's not supported between instances of str and int. So what is, you can see that the error message is very, very clear and very helpful. But what it's trying to tell us is that one of these is integer, one of these, and the other one is string, right? Now when you enter something from the when you ask user to enter something, of course definitely what the command prompt or what Python receive from them is a string. That is why because why I said that is that because this one is zero. We all know zero is number, is an integer. Zero is an integer. So this must be the only string that is there. So you can see again, it says string and integer. So I must find a way of turning this into an integer. And there's a simple way to do that, just by wrapping it around the word int. It's going to do that magic. So I'm going to do that, save and run again, and it's asking me to enter a number again. I ask and it says positive number. So I can run again, and this time around I enter -3 and say it is a negative number. Then I can run it again the last time, just to be sure that we know zero, and said it is 0. Okay, so is this clear? We have seen conditional, we have seen looping, we have seen sequence. Is there any question? So let me stop my screen to come back to the participants to avoid infinity screen. Okay, any question? Okay, yeah. So let me try to wrap up. We can't finish everything about Python in just one discussion, but we can look at the foundation, something that is going to get us started, and then see how we can build on it. The most important thing that this class have achieved is, number one, introducing you to to Python programming language, and number two, to show you that if you see a Python code, at least you know what it's all about. So you see an elif, you know that, oh, it's elif, but it actually means if else, right? And then you see a loop for I in so, then you know, oh yeah, Python, when it's iterating, is actually iterating over a sequence of number. That is why it's used that in the sequence, and other stuffs like that.
الصلاة والسلام